Today, we are going to talk about anger. It was a few days ago and I found myself angry. By the way, you could probably tell that my voice sounds different. Getting over a cold and or whatever the hell's going on in the world is probably a collective of many things. Anywho, today we're going to talk about anger. And a few days ago, I found myself getting angry. And I was observing and watching myself get angry. I don't actually, in this moment, remember what I was angry about. But I remember just feeling angry. And my children were triggering my anger. They weren't making me angry. So I titled this episode, Why My Kids Never Make Me Angry. And you may have clicked on it thinking, well, heck, she never gets angry. Her children must be perfect. And that's not the truth. Those are preconceived notions that you have about anger. Anger is actually not bad at all. Anger is healthy. We need a little bit of it. Sometimes I tell people, you should probably get angry because they've become numb or they have a story around anger that it's bad or women don't express anger, right? We traditionally, when you think about boys, you think about how it's appropriate for them to express anger, but it's not necessarily appropriate for women to express anger. So my kids can actually never make me angry because if my children trigger anger inside of me, the anger was also already inside of me. So I'm going to give you a visual, and I talk a lot about this inside of my coaching programs because people often come in overwhelmed, wanting clarity, wanting to create change and a transformation in their life. And when people do that, their shit gets triggered. And when they say yes to the opportunity and they're aligned fit for us and they've gone through the process and the interview process, oftentimes the first thing that happens is people get overwhelmed or their coping strategies come up because they committed to healing. And healing is not emotionally comfortable, hence the name of the podcast. So if you have a cup, I want you to visualize a mason jar, a clear mason jar. And it is full to the top, like to the absolute brim with water. Okay? And you put your hands around the cup and you are trying to transfer it from one room to the other room. You are walking slowly and you are being very mindful that the top of the cup does not spill. Like you are just like you're kind of looking at it. You're trying to balance the cup with the water in it. And then all of a sudden, somebody comes up behind you and they bump into you. Not on purpose. It was not intentional. They just bump into you. And it hits your arm and the cup falls out of your hand or just tips over slightly. What is going to happen? The water is going to spill out of the cup, right? Now, another scenario. Same exact scenario, clear mason jar, but this time the cup is full with water, only about 25%. Okay? So 25% of the cup is full of water. You're walking in your house, one room to the other. You're actually not paying much attention to the cup because it is not fully, you're not worried about it. You're like, yeah, I got this. I don't have to pay attention. It's not going to overflow. Same thing happens. Somebody comes up behind you, hits your arm, and the cup rocks a little bit. It shakes, but the water doesn't fall out. Now, why doesn't the water fall out? The water doesn't fall out because there's actually more capacity inside of this cup of air rather than water, right? So if the cup is 75% empty and 25% full, there's a lot more room for error. There's a lot more room for bumping. Okay. Arm bumping. Whatever is inside of your cup, when life happens and you get triggered or you get bumped into or someone says something to you that annoys you, whatever is inside of you that you have been trying to balance without actually processing or creating a solution to solve, it will come up and out. So I say this to people all the time. Your life changes when you make a decision to change, when you actually make a decision to invest in change. And investing in change and wanting change are two different things. So there's a lot of things that I want in my life. There are a handful of those things that I am actually invested in. And the things that I'm invested in are values of mine. They're things that I prioritize, or they are motivated by fear. They are motivated by pain, or it's part of the legacy that I want to leave. And it's just things that I will invest in: time, money, and energy. And so I say to people all the time, nobody can change you. You can invest your time, money, and energy into anything you want. But when you actually take a step back and you look at your life and you think, okay, how did I spend my day today? Where did I invest my time? And you just do it like an actual time log, right? You're logging your time. I woke up. I was of service to my children. I was of service to these other people. I did errands. I did cleaning. I did work. I did, my inbox. You stop and you realize, holy shit. I say I don't have time, but the reason why I don't have time is because I'm investing all of my time, resource into other things that are that are not necessarily your priorities because you're living on autopilot. So the whole point of consciousness and self-awareness and transformation and how I work as a coach is different than traditional models of looking in the past, because we get clear on the life you want and how you want to feel. Now, here's the kicker. When I say my children never make me angry, what I'm really saying is my children show me how angry I really am. And in my book, Dying to Be a Good Mother, I talk a lot about this. In my early days of mothering, I was incredibly angry and I blamed my children because I didn't know that my cup was full of anger. And I actually didn't know how to process my anger. And what I was told was to talk about my anger, to talk about how I was feeling. But that doesn't actually get rid of your feelings. So today I want to give you, I'm going to say tips and tricks, but I don't believe in tips and tricks, because if you are actually committed to not becoming angry, you will do what I tell you to do today. If you are curious about not being angry all the time, you will listen and be like, wow, those were great tips and strategies, but you're not going to implement them. So pay attention to what you say you're committed to in your life, but what you're actually curious about, because your actions show you what you're invested in. So you have a desire and you want to do something versus being committed and creating space on your calendar to actually create change. But then people say to me, but how, Heather? But how? So here's the how. Anger. A few days ago, which inspired this conversation, I was triggered and I got angry. Immediately. Now, remember, this takes energy and effort. It took a while for me to get here. Immediately, I said to myself, and you can write this down, why am I angry? My kid just asked for something. Why am I angry? Why did that trigger me? And sometimes people around me trigger me and make me angry, right? They don't make me angry. They trigger the anger inside of me, right? That's already inside my cup. And they don't even know that anger was triggered because I can feel it in my body. I can feel the volcano starting to erupt. That's what I call the yellow zone. If you've read my book, you know what I'm talking about when I say red, green, and yellow zones. So the yellow zone is when you are first becoming aware that you are angry, right? Someone says something to me and all of a sudden I'm like, ooh, I can feel that anger inside of me. Then sometimes I just move on with my day and I process and it just leaves naturally. I don't need to do anything else. But I typically do ask myself, I'm wondering why that person or that situation just triggered anger inside of me. There's many reasons, right? Sometimes social media, social injustice, things that are going on in the world, and you can feel it. You are a human being with a heart and a soul, and you are affected by the energy in the world. Now, how do you manage that? It can be a lot to manage. One, you can limit your intake of that information or stimuli until you feel confident in mastering how to manage your energy and not take that on. And that's a skill and it takes time. So sometimes it's deleting apps. Sometimes it's creating space and distance from people. And sometimes it's creating space for yourself to reflect and go, I actually don't know why I'm angry. Here's the other thing. Excuse me. Once I identify why I'm angry, and if you can identify that, again, that takes skill, that takes practice, that takes time and transformation. If I ask myself the question, I wonder why I'm angry. Now I can usually figure it out pretty quickly. Like I could be doing the dishes, get triggered and go, why am I angry? And instantly I know why I'm angry. And then I have to ask myself this question. What can I do about the situation to prevent it next time? As in, how did I get here? So the simple answer is my sleep has been shit. I'm not feeling 100%. I overscheduled myself. Whatever. Like you're going to get inventory of what's really going on. Okay. You also might get situations like my kid's behavior is stressing me out. My marriage is falling apart. My money situation is stressing me out. And I'm angry about it. I am incredibly done with my shit. And I'm annoyed and frustrated that I can't fix this problem or solve it already. I've tried so many things. You're going to get what I call breadcrumbs. Okay. These are really, really important inside of coaching because you are getting the inquiry from your body and your mind and your soul as to why you are angry. So why am I angry? And how did I get here? Now, number 3 is you're going to get some answers. And this is where courage comes in. So you're going to get whispers. And this is where often people discount themselves. They self-abandon. They do not listen to the whisper, and they don't test it because your brain wants certainty. You are scared of uncertainty. You're scared of failing. You're scared of succeeding. You're scared of all the things. So this is why you will not actually take action to change your relationship with anger. Okay. So you're walking around with a full cup of anger / water. And you're asking, like, somebody bumps into you and you're like, my children like spilt my water. Somebody else bumps into you. This person spilt my water. This person cut me off, right? But no, they just triggered what was inside of your cup. So you have to take personal responsibility. And I find this is the most emotionally uncomfortable part about anger because, and I hear this a lot from my clients regarding their children, because they're like, I get what you're saying, Heather. I totally get it. I'm an adult. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to hold the boundary. I'm going to take that brave, courageous action and say, we need to talk. Like, this cannot continue. Like, you're making me angry, or like, I'm really angry about the situation. I'm frustrated. I keep self-abandoning. Like, I need more support. Whether you're talking to people at work, whether you're talking, you're looking at your household, you can have that conversation, but then people see it in other people. So they'll be like, well, how do I change my children? How do I change this angry person in my life? And I'm like, listen. This is also the magic of boundaries. There's emotional boundaries. No one ever talks about emotional boundaries. So I'm going to give you an example. I have 3 boys. So there's a lot of anger that goes on in this house because, remember, it's socially acceptable for boys to express anger, right? But not sadness, no tears, just anger. So that is kind of like their go-to because that's the culturally acceptable emotion to project. So instead of them triggering my anger or them being angry and triggering me and being like, no yelling, what's going on? And then I'm yelling at their anger, I will say this. And I want you to pause this freaking podcast and listen to this, or you're going to have to listen to this episode over and over and over and over again. Okay? You ready? I can see now's not a good time to have a conversation, but I would love to know why you're upset. And then you walk away. I can see when I engaged and now I'm pretending I'm other people. I can see having a conversation about money brings up a lot of emotion for you. So, or brings up a lot of emotion. Let's have this conversation when we're both calm, when we can have an adult, respectful conversation. And then that person might say to you, I am calm, right? This is the red zone. They're in their red zone, prefrontal. They're not in the right part of their brain. Their lid is flipped. And this is when you do not engage in a conversation. Now, here's the unfortunate part. I called this conversation or this podcast episode, Why My Kids Never Make Me Angry. I want you to scratch out kids and I want you to put boss. Why my boss never makes me angry. Why my partner never makes me angry. Why my mother never makes me angry. Why my in-laws never make me angry. Why my money never makes me angry. Why my body never makes me angry. Why whatever. My business. Nobody can make you feel any way. And if you're hearing that and you're like, yes, Heather, they do. We are all connected and our actions and our words affect each other. But the whole goal of this conversation that I want to have with you today is that people can make you feel a certain way. Like you could be in the presence of people and you're like, you stress me out. Okay. Like, wow, I get so triggered in your presence. This is not healthy. I believe that. You can create space. You can hold a boundary around that. That's number 3. Talked about boundaries, whether it's physical boundaries, emotional boundaries. You can hold boundaries. And sometimes you have to leave, but you hang on for dear life. You literally have to leave. You have to leave the job. You have to leave the relationship. You literally have to leave the room. Parenting your own children that you've freaking brought into this world. Sometimes they can be little assholes and you got to deal with it. But here's my point. You also have to take responsibility for how you feel. Because if you keep passing blame or judgment on other people, you will never feel the way you want to feel.
And now a word from today's sponsor, AG1. I drink AG1 almost every morning. Now it is one of those unconscious habits that I do. I get my butt out of bed. I pour my water from my Berkey filter and I put a pack or a scoop of AG1 in it. Since 2010, they've improved their formula 52 times in their pursuit of making the best foundational nutrition supplement possible through high quality ingredients and rigorous standards. So if you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/EU. That's drinkag1.com/EU for emotionally uncomfortable.
So everything that I talk about is about how do you want to feel? How do you want to feel? How do you want to feel? I mean, I don't have a tattoo yet that says, how do you want to feel? Maybe one day I will, but you need to literally put that on a sticky note and put it everywhere because anger, unprocessed anger, is not going to get you closer to how you want to feel. If you do not know how to pour out, AKA process emotion, okay, in your cup, how the hell are you going to fill it with joy? So let me give you a visual. That cup is to the brim. It is overflowing with anger. And today I'm talking about anger. Insert resentment, overwhelm, burnout, numbness, blah, stuckness. I don't know. Your cup is full of whatever the hell you want it to be filled with, or you don't want it to be filled with. It's your current reality. Full to the brim, 100%, right? You're walking from one room to the other, you're holding it. It's shaky, but you're like, I can't drop anything. I can't spill this. I can't spill this. Let's just not walk on eggshells. Let's just hold our shit together. All right, don't make any sudden movements. And then wha-bam, life comes and it knocks your elbow. And you get shaky because, oh shit, your brain doesn't like uncertainty. So you need to pour out anger to create any space for joy, freedom, ease, abundance. So another visual of this, yes, you can pour it out, but you have this mason jar full of water, AKA anger, on a table. Then you have another mason jar full of black coffee. You physically pour the black coffee into the mason jar full of water. What happens? That water comes up and out. And eventually, if you pour enough into the mason jar, the black coffee will eventually transfer into the mason jar with water. And if you keep pouring probably 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mason jars of black coffee it will flush out all of the anger, all of the water. This is when I'm working with people and I talk about how do you want to feel and reverse engineering how you want to feel, getting super crystal clear on the specific actions. And we teach you this when we're coaching you, that you need to take on a consistent basis, like day in and day out. And depending on the season of your life, your goals, circumstances, we curate these specific actions with you, whether it's personal or professional, based on if you're here for parenting, money, time, energy, career, business, whatever it is. We do an assessment when you come in. So, but what I want you to know that I said was I had one mason jar of anger, water, and I had to like 5x the amount that I was pouring in there to clear out the water. What I see people do, especially women, is to literally pour a spoonful of black coffee into the water and expect all the anger to go away. This is a time game and a consistency game of knowing the right ingredient, the right action to take to reverse engineer how you want to feel. So, why my kids never make me angry? My kids never make me angry because when I'm angry, one, anger's not bad. It's just evidence. It's just a breadcrumb, not evidence. It's just a breadcrumb of what's going on. It's like a symptom, right? It's just like, hey, come on, what's going on? So when I'm angry, oh, why did I react that way? What's going on? Am I doing too much? Am I tired? Am I not taking care of myself? Did I slip? Did I let a kid cross a boundary? Did I not instill a boundary? Why? Like, what's going on? Okay, I need to get my energy up. Okay, I need to recharge my batteries. Okay, how am I going to do that? How can I put more systems in place? How can I put more strategies in place? Anger. Like, why are you here? What do you need from me to feel safe to leave my body? Right? There's so much goodness in anger. That's all I want to say to you. We've been taught not to feel. And once you learn how to feel, you return home to yourself. And I just think my kids don't make me angry. My kids bring me back home to myself. I've never had so much time, energy, money, happiness, fulfillment, sense of presence and ease. I've never been healthier than ever than being a mother. Because when you understand that the people you love are here to trigger the crap out of you, they are here to bump your elbows constantly so that you can say, okay, what are they showing me? So we need to blame others less for how we feel and look in the mirror more and ask ourselves, what do I need to take responsibility for? What do I have control over to feel the way I want to feel? I hope this was helpful. If it was, please take a screenshot, share it, tag me on Instagram at Heather Chauvet, share it with a friend. I keep these podcasts free for you. One, so you can take action, change your life, and we can make an impact in the world. Love you lots.